Golden Bachelor Gerry Turner says shocking truth about Theresa Nist made him sick. October 11th, 2025. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Bachelor Nation news fans. Golden Bachelor star Gerry Turner has revealed that the shocking truth about Theresa Nist made him sick. There is a lot that has come out since the two broke up. However, fans are shocked by what they're finding out. Theresa may not be who she made herself out to be. No one had any clue that she would do something like this. However, it made Gerry sick to his stomach. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Gerry Turner is first ever Golden Bachelor. Gerry Turner was the first ever Golden Bachelor. He is from Hudson Lake, Indiana. This was something fans did not see coming. However, they wanted to have a show for older people in the world. Fans ended up not liking Gerry as much as they thought they would. He ended up proposing to Theresa Nist. Fans loved the pairing. However, it did not last long. The two got married and then divorced months after their big televised wedding. Fans were shocked by this. It made some feel as though it was all a scam and they never truly liked each other. He says shocking truth about Theresa Nist made him sick. Gerry Turner has revealed the shocking truth about Theresa Nist. However, the truth has made him sick. Theresa at first did not want to sign the prenuptial agreement. Although it was signed after the wedding, Gerry learned a lot about Theresa. He learned that she was not as genuine as she made it seem. Several women shared a seemingly small detail that loomed large in my mind. While at the mansion, Theresa was reading How to Win the Bachelor. He revealed that this all made him sick to his stomach. Gerry found out that her intention was not to fall in love with someone. It was to win the show and get fame. It seems as though Theresa was plotting how to win the Golden Bachelor. So, according to Gerry, she was not there for love at all. She just wanted to win the show. This is disappointing for fans to hear. However, Theresa's true colors are showing. She has not spoken out on this issue, and no one knows if she will. However, it all made Gerry sick to his stomach. What do you think about this situation? Are you shocked by it all? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this
Bachelor
situation.
mansion gleamed under the California sun, every corner polished to perfection, every rose placed just so. Gerry Turner had arrived with hope in his heart and a twinkle in his eye. He had built a life of success, charisma, and charm, but love, he realized, was the one arena where fortune was not guaranteed. Enter Theresa Nist. She was captivating from the moment she appeared on the steps of the mansion, her smile radiant enough to stop hearts, her eyes hinting at secrets she carried like jewels hidden in a velvet box. On camera, she was the dream contestant, smart, witty, and endlessly engaging. But off-camera, Gerry quickly discovered charm could mask chaos. Gerry's first impressions of Theresa were full of hope. He remembered their first date, the laughter, the shared memories, and the easy conversation that felt like it could last forever. But as days passed, subtle inconsistencies began to surface. A sharp remark here, a sudden withdrawal there, small contradictions in stories that didn't quite add up. At first, Gerry told himself it was nerves, the pressure of being in the public eye. But a seed of doubt had been planted. The mansion's hallways echoed with footsteps and whispered conversations, but Gerry began noticing that Theresa seemed different when cameras were off. She would check her phone obsessively, excuse herself at odd moments, and sometimes her charm seemed to transform into something colder, calculated. One night, during a private moment on the balcony overlooking the Pacific, Gerry asked the question he had been tiptoeing around. "Theresa, is everything we're showing the world really who you are?" She smiled, a practiced tilt of her lips, and replied, "Gerry, darling, sometimes the world only sees what it wants to see. Aren't we all a little performance?" It was the first time Gerry felt a chill. Performance. That word lingered in his mind as a warning bell he tried to ignore. The real shock came during a group date challenge, the kind designed to test patience, chemistry, and authenticity. Gerry had chosen Theresa for a one-on-one, heart-to-heart walk on the beach. Cameras rolled discreetly, but what happened off-camera was anything but ordinary. Theresa's demeanor changed. Conversations that had previously been light and playful took sharp turns. She subtly questioned Gerry's motives, planting seeds of doubt not only in his mind, but in the perception of others around him. By the time they returned to the mansion, Gerry felt a creeping unease. Something wasn't right, and he could no longer ignore the signs. Then the whispers started. Other contestants, crew members, even friends outside the show hinted that Theresa's behavior had patterns. Manipulation, deception, stories about how she had behaved on other shows, rumors of calculated moves and strategic charm. Gerry tried to push them aside, insisting he judge her by what he saw, but the nagging feeling in his gut only grew stronger. Gerry's mornings became heavy with anticipation, and nights unbearable with reflection. The public saw a golden bachelor who smiled, laughed, and radiated joy. Inside, Gerry's stomach twisted, his heart burdened by the knowledge of what he now called the sickness of betrayal. He began journaling, trying to untangle reality from appearances. The truth about Theresa was like a puzzle missing pieces. On camera, she dazzled, charmed, and flirted effortlessly. Off camera, Gerry experienced her sarcasm, veiled insults, and subtle manipulations. He felt trapped in a web of glamour, hiding something darker. Gerry confided in a trusted producer, a mentor who had seen every twist of the show's drama. The producer listened carefully before finally speaking. "Gerry, you need to trust yourself. If your gut is telling you something is wrong, it probably is. Don't let the cameras dictate your reality." That advice hit him like lightning. The truth was now unavoidable. The fateful confrontation came one evening, when the mansion was quiet, the other contestants asleep. Gerry asked Theresa to sit with him in the garden. The moonlight cast long shadows across the manicured hedges, shadows that mirrored the tension between them. "Theresa, I need to know, are you being honest with me?" Gerry asked, voice steady but eyes revealing the storm within. Theresa tilted her head, eyes glinting, lips curling into a faint smile. "Gerry, honesty is subjective, isn't it?" The words struck him like a blade. It wasn't just evasive, it was a declaration. Gerry's heart sank as realization dawned. The woman he had been drawn to, charmed by, and hoped to build a future with had been playing a game far more intricate and selfish than he had imagined. Gerry stepped back, breathing hard, the weight of emotions pressing against him. "You made me sick, Theresa, physically. The stress, the lies, the manipulation, it's too much." The confrontation was intense, raw, and heartbreaking. Theresa's facade faltered for a brief moment, but then she composed herself, a final act of control. Gerry knew it was over. He had to protect his heart, his dignity, and his truth. The next day, in front of the cameras, Gerry chose clarity over drama. He explained, carefully, what had happened, without naming names outright, but with enough truth for the audience to understand. The tabloids would explode. Social media would light up, and though it hurt, Gerry felt lighter, unshackled from the deceit he had endured. Weeks later, Gerry reflected on the experience, realizing that the Golden Bachelor journey was more than roses, dates, and televised drama. It was a test of character, resilience, and discernment. He had been charmed, deceived, and hurt, but he had emerged stronger, wiser, and more attuned to the truths that matter most. As for Theresa, the world would form its judgments, rumors would swirl, and her name would continue to be associated with the mystery and glamour that she had cultivated. Gerry, however, chose not to dwell on bitterness. He sought healing, genuine connections, and the authenticity that he had fought to protect. In the end, Gerry Turner's journey on The Golden Bachelor became a story not of scandal alone, but of courage.
the courage to face truth, confront deception, and reclaim his own narrative. Media outlets buzzed, headlines screamed, "Golden Bachelor Gerry Turner breaks silence. Theresa Nist made me sick." Fans debated, viewers speculated, but Gerry's message was clear. Authenticity matters more than fame. Love requires honesty, and no charm, no smile, and no camera magic could substitute for truth. And as the sun set over the mansion for the last time, Gerry Turner finally allowed himself a genuine smile. Not one crafted for the cameras, but one born from self-respect, hard-earned wisdom, and the knowledge that sometimes surviving the storm is its
was
own
quieter
victory.
than usual that week. Contestants moved like shadows, careful not to draw attention. But Gerry noticed something different about Theresa. It wasn't her charm, she still had it in spades, but the precision with which she navigated every interaction. Every compliment, every laugh, every subtle gesture seemed premeditated. Gerry tried to dismiss it, blaming exhaustion and the stress of the show. But then came the texts, small, seemingly innocent, yet loaded with implications. Messages from producers, crew members, hinting at moments he hadn't seen. Observations about Theresa's behavior with subtle warnings. She's strategic, very strategic. He sat in his room, phone in hand, staring at the glowing screen. His mind spun. Could he really trust what he saw with his own eyes? Or had the charm been so effective that even his instincts were clouded? The breaking point came during a secluded hike. The cameras weren't recording, but Gerry felt the weight of unspoken tension between them. Theresa's words, once playful and warm, now carried a subtle edge. Tiny jabs disguised as teasing questions, inquiries that seemed innocent but hinted at manipulation. Gerry stopped mid-step, staring at the horizon. The sun dipped low, painting the mountains in fiery orange and crimson. He could feel his chest tighten, a wave of nausea rising. "Theresa," he said, voice low but firm, "I need to be honest with you. I'm seeing things, hearing things, and I don't like what I feel." Theresa turned slowly, her smile almost predatory in its perfection. "Gerry, aren't we all actors on this stage? Maybe you're just noticing the performance now." The words cut deep. This wasn't just a misunderstanding. It wasn't nerves. It was deliberate. The realization hit him. He had been ensnared in a game he hadn't agreed to play. That evening, Gerry couldn't sleep. He wandered to the balcony, looking at the ocean waves crashing against the cliffs below. Memories of their first dates, the laughter, the chemistry, the genuine moments, they all felt tainted now, like a beautiful painting smeared with ink. He finally spoke to a producer he trusted. His voice trembled. I think she's been manipulating everything, every reaction, every interaction. I feel sick just thinking about it." The producer nodded solemnly. "Gerry, you need to decide if this is about love or about protecting yourself. You're allowed to walk away." Gerry closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. It was the hardest decision he'd ever faced. To speak the truth meant exposing her, but staying silent meant betraying himself. The next morning, he requested a private sit-down with Theresa. They met in the rose garden, dew glistening on petals, as if nature itself was watching. Gerry's hands shook slightly, but his eyes were resolute. "Theresa," he began, "I've tried to understand. I've tried to see the best in you, but I can't ignore it anymore. Your actions, the manipulation, the deception, it's too much. It's made me physically sick. And emotionally, I can't take it." Theresa's expression didn't waver. She tilted her head, studied him, and finally said, "So this is where you draw the line? How dramatic. Gerry, you know nothing about me." "I know enough," he said, voice steady despite the storm inside. "Enough to know that what I felt, what I thought was real, wasn't. I deserve honesty. I deserve authenticity. And you didn't give that." For the first time, Theresa's mask cracked. There was a flicker of vulnerability, almost remorse, but it vanished quickly, replaced by control. Gerry realized then that he couldn't fix her.
He couldn't save what wasn't real. The revelation sent ripples through the mansion. Other contestants whispered. Crew members exchanged knowing glances. Cameras caught fragments of tension that viewers would later dissect in endless speculation. Gerry, however, felt something strange. Relief. A heavy burden lifted from his chest. He had faced the truth, spoken it, and reclaimed his narrative. He walked through the mansion corridors with renewed clarity, aware that fame, roses, and televised drama were trivial compared to personal integrity. When the public finally learned of his confrontation, headlines screamed. Golden Bachelor Gerry Turner exposes Theresa Nist's shocking deception, says it made him sick. The media buzzed with debate, gossip, and analysis, but Gerry's focus was clear: honesty, healing, and moving forward. Weeks passed. Gerry spent time with friends and family, reflecting on the experience. He realized that what the Golden Bachelor offered wasn't just a chance at romance. It was a lens into human behavior, an arena that tested patience, perception, and emotional resilience. Theresa faded from his daily thoughts, replaced by self-awareness and a cautious optimism for future relationships. He learned that charm could hide manipulation, beauty could conceal calculation, and love could be tested in ways he had never imagined. By the time the season finale aired, Gerry had embraced a new motto: trust your heart, but never
Once
ignore
Gerry's
your instincts.
revelation hit the media, the world erupted. Headlines blared across websites, TV shows debated every word, and social media lit up with opinions, memes, and heated discussions. Golden Bachelor shock. Gerry Turner reveals dark side of Theresa Nist. Fans react to Gerry's heartbreaking confession. Made me sick. Theresa Nist's charm or calculated move. The truth comes out. Gerry watched it all unfold from the mansion balcony, a glass of water in hand. He felt a strange mix of vindication, exhaustion, and relief. The public's gaze was intense, but he no longer cared about their judgment. What mattered was that he had spoken his truth. Messages poured in from fans and former contestants alike. Many expressed sympathy, others admiration. But some questioned him, suggested he overreacted, or speculated about motives. Gerry read them all carefully, understanding that public opinion was uncontrollable, but personal integrity was non-negotiable. As the media storm raged, Theresa finally issued a statement. It was carefully worded, polished, and perfectly measured. Classic Theresa. Reality television is a complex environment. While I respect Gerry's feelings, I feel that some statements have been exaggerated. The connections formed on the show are multidimensional, and my intentions have always been genuine. Gerry read her words and felt nothing. There was no shock, no anger, just clarity. He understood that she would always protect her image, manipulate perception, and charm the world regardless of reality. He had no control over her narrative, and that was fine. Alone in the mansion late at night, Gerry sat by the fireplace reflecting on everything that had happened. He thought about the initial charm, the first spark, and the growing suspicion that had led to confrontation. He thought about how betrayal and manipulation can appear in the most unexpected forms, disguised as affection. But he also thought about his resilience, the way he had faced the truth, spoken it aloud, and reclaimed his emotional freedom. He realized that the Golden Bachelor journey had taught him more than any romantic experience ever could. Trust your instincts. Value authenticity over appearances. Courage is speaking truth even when it hurts. Gerry smiled softly. He had survived the storm. He had learned, grown, and come out stronger. In interviews, Gerry shared his story with the world, not as gossip, but as guidance. He spoke about the importance of discernment, emotional awareness, and protecting one's heart. Love is incredible, but it can't be built on deception. True connection comes from honesty, vulnerability, and respect. I hope my experience helps others see that it's okay to step back when things feel wrong.
His words resonated with viewers. The story was no longer just about a dramatic reality TV confrontation. It became a lesson, a cautionary tale, and an inspiring message for anyone navigating relationships. The mansion doors closed for the season. Cameras, roses, and drama faded into memory. Gerry stepped outside, sunlight warming his face, ocean breezes carrying the scent of freedom. He wasn't bitter. He wasn't broken. He was enlightened. For Gerry Turner, the Golden Bachelor had been a stage, but the true story wasn't the roses or the cameras. It was the journey of self-discovery, the courage to confront manipulation, and the wisdom to know that love, real love, can only thrive in truth. And as the waves crashed against the shore, he whispered to himself, smiling, "I may have been made sick, but I am stronger, wiser, and ready for the love I truly deserve." The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in gold and crimson, symbols of endings, new beginnings, and the golden heart of a man who had faced deception, embraced truth, and emerged victorious.